Game number 1. It's Beasty in the southeastern side as the Molly. It's Mista in the northwest as the Abbasids.
There we go. Beasty playing in the color yellow. Seen a lot of players play in the color yellow so far. It's a theme. I know that Lucifron, for him, it's his favorite color. Beasty, we also see a lot playing in the color yellow whenever he gets a chance.
Wasn't that like Viper's notorious color? Wasn't Viper always the...
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Viper is the OG yellow player.
That's what I thought. I always remember that being like a big thing. For some reason, before colors got introduced, yes, there was a time before colors were introduced, everyone, for some of those newer players. But I remember when colors were introduced, it was a big deal. And I always remember Viper being the one mentioned that why it was a big deal.
Gotta have yellow. You can't have Viper without yellow, else it's just black and white and doesn't really feel that good then. Both players right now just going for the usual scouting patterns here.
Yeah.
Seeing the sheep gathered up right now.
With the Abbasid, you are one of the civs that you can be more aggressive with your scouting patterns. You're able to, you know, open up on the berries. You're able to deny some sheep from the other side. But even still, it looked like Mista being a little bit more conservative, just grabbing those sheep that he knows he can secure. And I think he even still won out with his little circle so far.
Good amount of sheep. Gets the first drop off there. Makes sure he's not going to be running out on his way to Fuel Age. At this point in time, House of Wisdom has already been dropped by Mista. Looking at the spot at the map layout so far, Mista has a back wood line, has a forward wood line. Back gold, back
my
actually
gosh.
share. Okay.
Okay, I'm glad we got to see this now. It's the god spawn for the mining camp there.
It's the famous Marine Lord spawn. All right. That is a, budget camp there. Saving 50 wood. Very nice here for the Mista early on. And military wing coming in for him.
Yeah. I always remember like 50 like resources doesn't seem like that much, but in these earlier timings, it can just be so crucial and so huge in these early points.
Yeah, it also means that he has a really quick transition between gathering gold and then going out to stone for like a second TC if he wants to go for one.
Yeah. No extra build time for the mining camp. It's all these like little things that end up adding up together because it, you know, it's just this overall massive savings. Mansaquari is on the way though. 6 villagers wants to get that gold income as fast as possible.
Yeah, and Beasty also scouted his opponent's base, so he knows about the fortunate spawn there from Mista. Military wing probably also has been scouted out, so he knows what to expect. We'll likely be seeing an archer range as soon as he ages up.
Yeah, you can even see, you know, the 160 wood in the bank for Mista. He is already skyrocketing through to be able to get the second TC resources because of that extra wood savings. He's already onto the stone earlier as well. And so this second TC timing could be something to be talked about here.
Oh, it's not going to be... It's going to be a stable. It's not going to be an archery range. That's interesting. And he's rushing it up with a lot of villagers at the same time. Wondering what exactly he's going to be trying to make with that. Maybe it makes me think that he wants to go for a warrior scouts into pro scouts kind of thing. But if the TC with the military wing from Mista, it should be like if Mista drops the TC on a deer spot, I don't think that Beastie is going to be able to deny it. For one. And then once the TC has been put up there, it's going to be really tough for the pro scouts to really get value out of that.
Yeah, we can already see the spears, the archers starting to move on forward. It is the pro scouts immediately, and BC it is the warrior scout upgrade immediately, and actually double broad axe first, and starting to be annoying on that stone right off the bat. Mista not too far away from that second TC resources, so he wants to be able to get it, and his spears are forward.
So the spears aren't going to be in position to defend. Instead, he wants to put more damage onto the houses here from Beastie. And Beastie Rushing up an archery range now with 6 villagers, gets that out as soon as possible. Mista just missing a little bit of stone right now in order to be able to go for that second TC, is just microing the villagers there, back and forth, making sure not a villager goes down. But it is a lot of idle time, and he's gonna be having a lot of very, very weak villagers there. Gonna have to be careful.
I believe he gathered enough stone once he drops off with the last few at home. The question is, where's that secondary? He's got to be so conservative with it. This is such a feels bad for the secondary DC. Usually, one of the benefits of the military wing is that you know your second TC location can be somewhere prime time, but instead he is using them more aggressively.
Did manage to kill a couple of the houses there from Beasty. So got a little bit of value in at least, and the second TC is going to be coming in a good timing. And you really do need that second TC when you're playing against the Malians, because you gotta also have a way for yourself in order to scale. The Malians, they're just going to be doing their cow boom. They're investing resource into that, and it's going to pay off really, really quickly. You got to go the long route around. You got to invest a lot early on, and then you got to just go for that TC, get the villager scaling, and you gotta bide your time even a little bit. Oh, now Pro Scouts is getting researched by Beasty. So not only has the TC placement been denied, this also means that now he is gonna be in a position or to steal the deer of his opponent.
And not only will he be stealing one deer, there are 2 prime time deer packs to steal that are just front and center with a lot of space.
Production buildings have come out from Mista, so now he's gonna start building his own units. Additional spearmen coming out, archers also being produced. But Beasty, he's got both javelin throwers, or at least one javelin throwers, and his own archers out right now. This could be difficult to defend, but if he has the production for it, he should be fine. More and more warrior scouts coming out as well. Beasty trying to take some shots at the villagers there on the berries. Mista has to be careful not to lose a villager. Does pull it back in time.
Yeah, has military positioned over on that gold, but might just pull back those vills right as those units push on forward. It's exactly what he does.
So far, the military from Beasty isn't in position to immediately go for the deer, now that the upgrade has come in. But this is very likely just a diversion right now. With the superior mobility from the warrior scouts, any moment now he could decide to just run around and start picking up those deer. Scouts up the military, and now is probably going to be the point in time where he just runs over to the other side and starts to try going for them.
Yeah, it looks like spearman upgrade just now coming through, so the spearmen going to be a little bit more effective for the Mista, but needs to still like have those spears in correct position, which is so hard to do with the vision Beasty has with all the scouts.
Yeah, and there we go. Scouts moving out now. Start to collect up those deer. Mista still has his military forward. It's not going to be able to secure his deer against that. This can become really, really annoying. Luckily, there are a couple of extra berry bushes in your own base and towards the middle. So there is still food that the Abbasid can gather up really, really efficiently. But missing out on the deer can be a little bit hurting. But it also gives Mista a little bit of a better window when it comes to harassing, or rather pushing into the cattle boom from his opponent.
Yeah, that's just so much food that BC's going to have safe and secure. He actually, I think he's about to just kill a cow there. Just make sure he doesn't go idle there for a bit. But he's still booming up with this cow. He's bringing back these deer to where he's not going to have to cannibalize those cows as much anymore, and just make sure to fill all those ranches up.
That's getting boot camp, which makes me think that he wants to also start pushing out onto his opponent. So the deer are now coming back. That's a lot of food income that he's going to be getting. Well, not food income, but like food reserves, rather. It's not going to make him gather faster.
And you can see Mista, he's definitely dropping more and more production. He's got a ton onto gold, though. And my question is when is he going to start utilizing this gold, whether it be eco upgrades, whether it be blacksmith upgrades, or potentially thinking about Castle Age timing?
I don't think Castle Age needs to be the play here. I think you just got to invest a lot into Feudal Age. Talked about it a couple of times against the Malians. Like, there isn't actually any unit that you can't kill with Feudal Age units that the Malians have. There's no real men-at-arm or like really, really strong knight. Even the sofas, they don't have as much HP as normal knights. So you can be fine playing the long game against them. Mr. looks, like you said, going to be going for the castle age, and then it's very likely that composite bow. The javelin throwers could be difficult to deal with.
Yeah, I'm on the same wavelength as you when it comes to castle aging against Molly. I feel like it's one of these traps. Like, it doesn't give you this huge benefit. You need to match numbers, not necessarily age with them. It almost allows them to play more into that cattle boom, but a couple houses being taken down just to be annoying. The archer number, it's heavy enough to, I think, just step up against these javelins and continue this torching behind.
It's still tough with the same movement speed and the added range that the javelin throwers get, but yeah, you're able to not take the worst trades here. Especially since you also have the bootcamp upgrade, means that 6 javelins aren't actually enough in order to one-shot your archers. Look at that, Beasty has added 2 additional archer range, so now he's going to be on 3. Cowboom also almost complete, but still, Mr. with the way superior food income, and now Mr. is going to be the first one to click up to the next age.
Yeah, and he's actually not behind in military when he's clicking up. Obviously, you wait a minute or two and Beasty's going to be able to utilize all that income he has for military because he's just dropping the more production, able to be able to use those resources, but Culture Wing is on its way.
Showing on its way indeed, and with that, he once again starts ramping up his own production as the age up is just getting researched itself. He doesn't need to pull any villagers in order to finish the age up. Military from Beasty looking around, trying to find some value. Trying to potentially be annoying here on the sides, on the gold economy. Because the gold is what Beasty needs to deny in order to delay the upgrades from coming in for Mr. Sends the archers in one way, the javelins in the other.
Splitting resources or splitting units that are very, very immobile can be scary at times, though. If Mista just splits some army and groups up and denies one of these groupings, it can be very devastating and harder to kind of equalize in that military number. Mista, though, very quick to pull his vills back. Did end up losing 1, but could have been a lot worse regarding the situation. However, there's more raids coming in on the west. His berries on the west getting denied, having to pull those villagers back as well. Lost a few over there too.
Overall, still 15 villagers ahead, but yeah, is now going to be in a position though to clean up these javelin throwers here. Grand Falani Corral is now also getting dropped by Beasty at the same time. Wall in hasn't been finished yet. Villagers getting slain. Lose a couple more villagers there. Once again, archers looping around, but archers in position this time for Mr. And Beasty lost most of his military as he was aging up.
Yeah, that never really feels good. Now, Mista is able to get he finishes Culture Wing. He's able to get, Preservation of Knowledge in, which we see clicked up now. All of those techs going to be that much cheaper. And one thing I love with the Culture Wing Castle Age timing is it usually coincides pretty well with you getting your tier 2 golden age as well.
Yeah, so the research also gets quicker. Second spear gets taken out. Ghulam's now also being produced here by Mr. And Beasty, he doesn't even have a barracks up right now, I believe. Yeah, he's going straight for sofas from the looks of it. Which could be rough if Mr. just adds in a couple of crossbows here.
And poison archers as well. So Beasty's playing the old Molly build, but with the cow boom. So a lot of times the new one, we've seen the cow boom into kind of this either sofa or kind of whatever they want to do. But Beasty, he played the old, not only warrior scouts, but the pro scouts with it and the cow boom. So he's just going with everything over here.
Yeah, Beasty's eco now is looking really, really good. He's going to get a lot of food income here. Mr. still has a couple of berry bushes that he can go through, so his income for now is going to be quite stable. Lots of upgrades coming in, upgrades that have been made quite a bit cheaper. Adds a lot of outposts as well. Wants to have vision all around his base. No imams from either player so far, so nobody's going for relics quite yet. Overall, the army from Mr. looks quite a bit better than Beasty's army. But the sofas are going to be coming out now, and it's going to be tough to really fight against these sofas as import armor is also going to be coming in.
Yeah, Mista really needs to probably have a few more forward walls to make sure the Sofa can't raid his economy, because he does have spearmen to fight them. He just needs them in the correct positions to be able to do so. The main damage for his unit composition is going to be those composite bows, archers, though.
Upgrades coming in on the outpost, both the Springle upgrade as well as the reinforcement upgrade. Just going to be in time. First torch volley is going to be coming through, but now the upgrade has been completed. Outpost has been strengthened significantly. Army's going to be clashing now against each other, but composite bows is in, so the archers here from Mista are going to be doing a lot of damage.
Doesn't quite have that second pierce damage upgrade yet. It's almost through. Those archers going to be so much more effective against those Sofa. That being said, the outpost gets taken down. The units inside should get taken down. Yep, they get taken down as well. And the front side of Beasty's base is a little bit vulnerable now, especially looking at these numbers, and the ram gets dropped.
And that farm transition also coming in for Mista. Doesn't skip a beat there, and Beasty now running out with his military, trying to find some raids, but might need these Sofas in his main base if he wants to defend himself.
Yeah, and one thing I've always heard BC say is it's always a good time to counterattack and do some raids when you are on the back foot and you are feeling like you need a way back in the game. But Mista, he's got walls and he has vision behind this, so should be able to react pretty well. And Beasty, he's going to have rams at his base that he needs to deal with. Those rams, they take down those houses of mollies so quickly.
So running out just as the army here arrives from Beasty. This could be dangerous for Mista, as his gold villagers have to pull back.
Gold villagers have pulled back, but the scouts, the Sofa, they're going for a circle, trying to mess up with that villager pathing. At least get, what is that, 5 or so vills. But Beasty, he's housed. He's pop capped right now, and there's going to be a lot more houses going down. He's also denied off of his western gold vein, has to fully pull back. This is starting to get crazy here.
All the pit mines on the same side here for Beasty. And he doesn't really have a good way to answer to the composite bows right now. He has his own archers, but archer on archer, it's only going to get better and better for Mista as the numbers increase.
Yeah, Beasty not really able to get an equalizing raid. One vill was left out, not inside the outpost, and reinforcements are coming in to defend that Sofa raid, and Beasty just still not quite having the numbers. Ram having some pathing issues. Main fight getting engaged on. Spears just frontlining it on up. Composite bows firing on anything in their path. Ram, hello.
Yeah, Ram
should have just been hitting the houses at this point.
Yeah, it should 100%. Right now, spread formation coming out from Mista. Feels like it needs some line formation for now. Sofa's actually doing a good amount of damage here. Yeah. And the archers aren't being microed right now.
Mista needs to fall back here. I think he's a little too distracted with the Sofa count in his base. He just now looked back. He realizes that he's going to lose this forward mass here. And Beasty, this could be the exact timing that he needed.
Yeah, the Sofas just were a little bit too tanky. The armor on them means that the archers weren't able to do enough damage against them. Probably needed a couple of crossbows in there. And now it's 44 archers versus 15. A lot of damage has been done. And we do see the Wallalow coming out from Beasty, trying to distract his opponent here. Still a lot of army from Beasty running around in back of Mista's base. Mista, he does still have a good amount of wood in the bank, so is able to remass a lot of the archers. Needs to be careful with the waypoint that he's setting them to. We need some more production as well.
I don't know. The problem I just see now is if this front wood line starts getting denied, then he won't be able to continue this archer spam as much. And the archers, you said it, the archer on archer war doesn't really work well when you have the when you don't have the numbers. And BC's got 42 poison archers out right now.
Yeah, and the Ghulams, not tanky enough, do get taken out. Economy from Mista is kind of exposed right now.
Woodline has warrior scouts on it, and Mista, he throws in the towel. It looked so good for him a second ago. The timing was so close, but Beasty able to hold, able to do some return fire, and takes game number 1.
These raids from Beasty definitely cost a lot of the attention from Mr. there. I feel like if only he had a couple of mangonels out there as well that he could have made with his army, would have probably looked quite a bit better for him once these archers start to fight against each other. But yeah, just wasn't quite enough there. We see the villager count in favor of Mr., but the economy from the cattle boom proving to be too much. I think cattle overall just providing so much food there. You don't need a second TC, and it kind of feels like the counter to second TC as well. At some point, we do see military just goes down rapidly there for Mista, and that's just when the archers from Mista were hitting the sofas and not hitting the enemy archers there from Beasty. Sofas are just so tanky.
Yeah, I mean, they're just knights, essentially, especially when you talk about getting that imported armor. And what a good timing by Beasty to be able to hold, be able to counter raid, and just stabilize during that. I know anyone else in that position, game might have been going quite a different way, but what's done is done, and now we are on to one of Beasty's home maps. Even though he won it, Mista chose mountain clearing, wanted to go ahead and get it out of the way, and
HRE Mirror.
Okay. So this is one of the maps. I feel like it's usually HRE or English that we're seeing for the most part from my experience. And it's one that getting HRE out of the way, you look at some of the other maps. We don't have Holy Island, so HRE more likely to be saved if you have Holy Island in the rotation. But on Golden Heights, that's a map more that you're not as inclined to go with the HRE. You're more inclined to go with an English or maybe even an Ottoman or another civilization of that sort. So the HRE mirror does make a lot of sense when you look at the bigger scheme of things.
Yeah, definitely does. I mean, HRE can still be played a number of different ways here. You do have deer, which are basically right next to your starting TC. So in theory, you could go for something like a Burgrave play. Now, I know Beasty is definitely going to go for something like a Regnitz here. You do also have the relics quite close to your main TC. So Regnitz kind of feels like the main go-to that an HRE player can go for. But with the additional food that you get, like going for Burgrave play, because both players are still relatively like close to each other, that's definitely an option there as well.
Yeah, I do know watching Beasty on this map, a lot of times he does love to open right there on that boar. Might be a little bit more difficult. If your opponent does the same, we could just see some shivs, some prelates being brought out. It'd be a very exciting game to start out with if it does turn into that. But I wouldn't be too surprised to see one of these players try to go out for that early boar play with the prelate.
Early boar play definitely helps with you. If you go for the inspiration with your villagers, that's a lot of early food income that you can get. But it's also dangerous, right? Because you put your villagers out towards the front and then it kind of gives your opponent a point to attack on. At the same time, though, you get an outpost up early, and if you get to Castle Age, which in Nature Mirror is going to happen relatively quickly, it's going to help you quite a bit having an outpost already up in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. This map is all about that middle positioning point, that middle control, and that is a great way to start that middle control there, especially when sometimes doing that, you're going to make your opponent want to react. You just said it. You're like, it's going to, allow your opponent to have a positioning point to be aggressive on. Well, as HRE, you don't always want to be the aggressor. Sometimes you want to be that faster to castle and then be the aggressor. Well, starting on boar is one way to help yourself get to that faster castle and put your opponent on a different footing.
Exactly. And we're going to be able to find out what approaches different HRE players are going to be going here for in just a little bit. Overlay is initiating right now, so it's just going to be a couple of seconds until we'll be going into our game 2 of our 4th set of the day.
Yep. Exactly. And another mirror matchup, but so far the mirrors today, they haven't really been the typical annoying mirrors that you don't like to see. Usually there's been some stark differences. There's some big kind of differentiating factors to have one player, have that step up and leg above their opponent.
Yeah, and mirrors especially, you always want to get as many bonuses for yourself as possible. Want to have as many kind of differences there. So board play can definitely help you get a leg up on your opponent. There we go. Game number 2 about to begin. And we do have the HRE mirror here. on one of the community favorite maps here, mountain clearing for sure. Doesn't look like any of the players though have started to go out for that boar in the middle yet.
No, it's just that early typical opening. They're on the sheep, but usually with mountain clearing as well, it's either one of two things. Trying to push away your opponent's deer some and be annoying, which is very risky considering the proximity to the town center, and also pushing your own deer in. This is all after you get your first initial bit of sheep, which are very, very easy to gather on up, and then push your deer in, have a great, great chapel positioning as well.
Sheep so far being collected by both players. No deer pushing so far. Looks like Mista is now going to be going for the push on the deer here. Yeah, this could be very, very good Ark and Chapel positions here from both players. The way that they, depending on how they push their deer in, should both be able to get like the food and the gold in range of the Ark and Chapel. Potentially even a little bit of the wood.
And I love it how it's like HRE. Like, not every Civ gets to not worry about scouting their opponent. Yes, it's a mirror matchup, so it's less of an importance, blah, blah, blah. But you, like, on this map specifically, it's like, let me focus on these deer because I know as the HRE, getting these deer under my town center directly, the timings can just be too much to deal with where it doesn't matter what your opponent's doing. They have to react to what you're doing.
Exactly. Just a deer luring minigame going on for now. Both players hard at work, making sure the deer are going to be as close to the TC as possible. And age-ups should be coming in shortly as well. Looks like Beasty's going to be the first player to age up here. Ark and Chapel in a good location. Gives him both woodline, gold, food. Everything in it. Very good spot.
Yeah, luckily for this map, you're usually getting one of those that has just about every single resource you need inside of it. But, I mean, look at that deer push. They're all so close together, right tucked up next to the town center. On the side of TheMista, he's got his stone, he's got his gold, the wood line as well, and his deer are all the way pushed in too as well.
Yeah, looking good for both HRE players here. Very, very even Ark and Chapel spawns that they're going for. Beautiful position there from the deer. And with that, I guess we're just going to be seeing a skipped feudal age from both players, very likely. Just straight into castle age.
Yeah, it's not too surprising knowing this matchup. This map especially as well. The question's going to be, who gets the middle relic? That is going to be the big point in this game.
Don't even think that's what it's going to be about. I think that, or what I want to see, is Mista going for something really, really out of the box and aggressive and just going for a Burgrave play. Because Beasty very likely is going to go for a Regnitz play. I think something that Mista should do is open up with a stable, get a single horseman out, still look for the fast castle behind that, just the horseman or to deny vision from his opponent, deny vision from Beasty by keeping the scout at bay, maybe even taking it down.
Yeah, the hard part here is I feel like I've seen a similar play against Beasty on this map, and it's been a great crossbow reaction to where he plays it defensively, and then he has that extra gold income that just skyrockets on and up and still takes that middle control. But we'll see if that timing comes into play. Burgrave is one of those that if it has that timing, if it's not reacted to, if you don't have these perfectly clean timings on the other side, or you just dropped a production building maybe forward instead of backwards, it could just be game over.
Indeed. Now it looks like both players right now are currently just macroing towards the castle age. Nothing happening that suggests anything else right now.
But look at the resources in the bank. Beasty just feels like he is a step ahead, a couple steps ahead of TheMista as far as this mirror matchup goes.
I think it's mostly just drop-off related. Yeah, it's right now the timing for him is a little bit better. Something else that's important is, like, with the HRE, you can't force drop by garrisoning units inside your TC, because when you do that, the inspiration buff actually gets cancelled.
Speaking of a forced drop-off, there we go. Beasty. Is that going to be a forward Burgrave?
Nah, it's just going to be Regnitz.
It looked like he was starting to move forward a little bit, and I was like, all right, maybe he's just trying to get some really crazy timing here, but it is a Regnance. It doesn't shock us. It doesn't surprise us from what Beasty plans. Mista, he knows the timing of it. He scouts it out. He even sees the exact vills on it. He force drops off his gold. Needs to do the same with his food, and it is a Regnance for him as well.
So mirrored in that regard, only 9 villagers for him, 14 right now for Beasty. And the Prelate is already moving towards the middle for that relic there.
Oh, scouts there. There's a boar to be pulled onto the Prelate. That's about it, though, as far as damage that can be done. Mista, he already pulls that boar. He's drawn it on over, but once Beastie Scout arrives, he can lure that boar on away. Not only that, there's a second Prelate here.
Second Prelate gonna be coming in. Scout luring away the boar. And Relic gonna get snatched up. And actually, Prelate going further. Even further beyond. Okay, he's not gonna go for it. For a second, I thought
yeah, he is. He's going for it. He's going for the steal.
Mista needs to pre-move his scholar right now. His Prelate needs to move. Is it gonna be in time? I'm not sure. I'm not sure it is.
It's a race.
It's gonna be so close.
Beastie got it! Oh no! He doesn't have any units there. That's it.
It's the relic. That's GG. It's 4-1 relics and GG does get called.
Oh my. I mean,
it's a quick one. Yeah,
he's done.
Yeah,
he's just done.
It's a fun one. It's a fun one.
Oh my. Well, it was over before it even started, it feels like. That was exactly when some action was about to start happening. And golly, it just shows how quick that timing can be. You're just ahead by a few seconds. Prelate moves out a little bit further ahead of time, and Mista knew that it was over from there.
That's saying, yeah, well, that happened. Yeah, you're responsible for that.
That did indeed happen. That being said, let's just, we can move past that. Obviously, that was some excitement. That was some quickness. It was over. It's done. I would have rather seen like I go back. We should have just gone for the villager on the board play at the start. But forget all of that. We're into game number 3. It's French versus Ottomans. And this is a matchup that I feel like people kind of like playing the Ottomans a lot.
Yeah, and Ottomans here against French. It feels like this is slightly Ottoman favored with the Janissaries. We saw how good the Janissaries were earlier in the Lucifron versus Louis MT set that we had there. Janissaries. I know the community hates them. The pro scene loves them. Very, very good unit in theory. In practice as well.
There was a time when the Janissaries were less than worthless. I felt like they had some changes, a little bit of some propping up now, and they are a very, very useful unit, as we saw a couple games ago, where that was basically the unit composition was Janissaries and Siege for the most part. But they are even better against the civs such as the French that love their Royal Knights.
Love the Royal Knights, love the crossbows, and yeah, gonna be an interesting one. Gonna be an interesting one for sure. Region's one of the more unique maps that we have in this tournament. Lots of gold in the middle, food toward the sides.
Yeah, both of these civs, they're definitely civs that like their gold. Ottomans, we just talked about Janissaries, very, very gold-heavy unit. French, we talked about Knights, very gold-heavy unit. Same thing with Arbs, but with regions, especially above other maps, it's about that middle control. You can see it based off of the picture. There's these giant gold veins, there's these giant stone nodes, and that is where, if you can control those, you will end up winning this game.
Yeah, gold control, very, very important here for both of these civilizations. French needs the gold in order to make their knights. Ottoman wants the gold for their Janissaries and knights and siege and whatnot. Everything is about the gold there in the middle. French, though, even if they don't take the gold right away in the middle, there is a way for them to take control later on, called the Red Palace. And if it gets to that point in time, if we do see a Red Palace come out, French can be very, very scary to deal with.
Yeah, I feel like usually it's weird knowing like some of the units you hear from the Ottomans, you're like, oh my gosh, they have great bombards. Like they're got to be great late game. It's like, yes, but no, not as much. It's weird because French used to be regarded as one of the worst late game civilizations, but with the Red Palace, now they're one of the best. There's just this inability to raid any of their eco.
Exactly. Suddenly, your TCs do more damage than other civilizations' keeps, and it's a little bit ridiculous at times. You look at it, and it's like, okay, there's a keep, a normal keep that has a Red Palace emplacement. Suddenly, it's able to take down rams. Suddenly, it's able to take down bombards, and it's a little bit funky. It's a little bit funky. It's a little bit broken, some might say. Surely, they're going to be looking at it. Hopefully, maybe together with rams, please, but. Gonna have to wait and see for that. In the meantime, we're gonna be enjoying our French versus Ottoman matchup here between Beasty and Mista on regions. Just a little bit longer to go. Until then, I wanna drag your attention over to our call to arms community support goal. We have already reached 1,416 out of 2.5k, but you can help us go even further beyond by both contributing points via subscriptions, donating, cheering. It all helps. It all goes a long way. Helps EGCTV provide the community with all of these amazing tournaments and just overall supports the entire AV4 tournament scene.
Yeah, you gotta love the support. And if you can't, gift some subs, you can always use those Bezos bucks and have that free sub that you can use that you get once a month on in. Or if you can't, we do appreciate the support just by y'all sticking around, y'all watching, coming out each and every day, the Saturday, Sundays that we end up casting consistently, and just keep on coming around and supporting the channel.
Exactly. Minute remaining. Getting there. Closer and closer.
Yeah, one of the things I actually would be interested to see, and I feel like Ottomans, they've had a pretty good track record this tournament so far, which is one that if you look at like these tier lists, it's like, oh, Beasty's tier list just came out. I feel like Ottomans is always talked about as like one of, maybe not D tier, but like one of the ones that just doesn't have anything special about them. They're never up in that S tier marking. And I feel like right now, like their performance has showed that maybe they don't be deserving of that D tier.
I mean, in theory, BC's tier list, it's literally just Ottomans is ranked really badly there because Beasty tends to lose a lot of games when he plays Ottomans.
All right. Okay. Is there any reason for that? Is it play style? Is it, or is it just it is what it is?
I think he just doesn't vibe with the Civ. I think there was one time where he wanted to try playing Ottomans and he only faced off against English and lost a couple of games. It's probably just not a civilization that he and his playstyle kind of immediately click with. It's going to take him a little bit of time to really train with it. And so in his own tier list, it's probably not going to perform as well when you think about it.
I gotcha. Well, enough about the tier list. We are about to jump into the potential final game of the day. It is regions. We have Beasty spawning in this southern side in the color yellow as the French, versus Mista in the north on the Ottomans in the color blue.
At the spawn so far, what do we see here? Very forward gold here from Mista. Backstone. How's it looking for Beasty? How's his gold positioned at the moment? We also see early military school coming in right now from Mista. Actually, never mind. He also has a back gold. He has both a forward and a back gold.
I was looking at that forward gold and I was like, that is so far away. I was like, no way is that his original gold. That being said, we do see his gold and Mista doing a great job immediately scouting out the gold of Beasty. He knows where he needs to send that first spearman. That being said, French, they know how to react to tower rushes. They know how to react to spearmen play typically. And by the time this first spearman gets across from Ottoman's military school, it's usually like, what, 3:15 or so?
Yeah, 3 minutes-ish is usually when the first spearman finally comes out from the military school. It takes a little bit, then he has to cross the map as well. Still though, a little bit of harass could be coming in here from Mista. It's always better to use the spears a little bit rather than not use them at all. And you can also just use them in Fuel Age later on. Just helps you secure your own resource against those knights, which are pretty much guaranteed to be coming out from the French early on. Thinking of what Beasty might be going for in this one, I think he's just going to start off with the second TC because the deer position that he has there right now between the woodlines and the gold, that is just a very good spot to drop a TC on. Secures the woodlines, secures the gold and the deer. I would be surprised if he wouldn't go for a second TC with that kind of spawn.
Yeah, one thing though, if I see this map layout from TheMista, you kind of just mentioned a great spot to protect if you're Beasty, but if I'm Mista, I see exactly where I want to focus. Not only is it gold, it's his secondary gold and it's his deer. He gets literally the heart and soul that the French wants. It's all in one single spot. That's where I would want to attack if I'm Ottomans, and I might just 1 TC all in it over here. Just full deny gold, deny that deer location, and French is going to struggle for food. They'd have to move to the east and go out to the boar, very, very far off resource locations.
Exactly. Being able to deny the deer here forces the French very, very far out onto the map early on. First Spearman now makes his way across the map, so timing's a little bit better than what we thought it would be. So 3:15 is probably when he will arrive at the base of BC. School of Cavalry being built, already a lot of gold in the bank. Could be going for an early wheelbarrow here. Early wheelbarrow is now in queue as well.
Yeah, typical French age up, you know, this is the tried and true French. Go to School of Cavalry, you'll have enough in the bank for a knight right when it finishes, and you're getting wheelbarrow on its way up to just give that little bit of a boost into your economy once it finishes.
Twin Minaret Madras being rushed up now by 6 villagers. So age up from Mista, not going to be too far behind Beasties, also in a very good position.
Yeah,
I thought the farmers on the berries are going to be safe.
Exactly, and against a civilization such as the French, that's so much more important. I remember casting a game, I think it was Puppy a week or two ago, and he was playing against the French. He dropped it in the wrong location and ended up paying for it a little bit, and that's where those berry pickers are going to be nice and safe. And not only that, he's got the military school. He's dropping his production behind the TC as well.
Beasty laming the deer here a little bit from TheMista. Spearman, though, moving out. This is always so annoying to deal with. And the deer have been spread out at the same time. Mista also has Spearman over on the deer from Beasty, also spreading them out.
Yeah. Beasty not going for that archery range yet, doesn't feel like it's necessary, and the deer, they're not going to be the most efficient if he is thinking about a second TC at some point, but for now, he's just focusing on gathering a good bit of gold that he's got in the bank. Most likely going to get another eco upgrade, if I had to guess, in a second or two, as well as maybe another night out on the map. And there it is. Moves on over to the stone. Still's got 187 gold, so wonder what he is going to utilize that for. There it is, double broadaxe.
It's going to be coming in, potentially also keeping some gold for a second night should he need it, or another economy upgrade. But yeah, stone is going to be that second TC, as we thought about would happen.
Barracks very necessary for Mista. He needs to get that spear upgrade because he can't fight those knights with Dark Age spearmen. They just get obliterated.
Exactly. There we go. Second knight is going to be coming in, but Mista does have enough spearmen out there. Also getting his own double broadaxe upgrade in right now. Archer range also being built right now.
And Mista, he's moving on over to the stone as well. Just one villager for now. So most likely just going to be that next military school investment, if I had to guess. I love Beasty. He's going to try to bait these spearmen in to then allow the knight to circle around the backside. But Mista, he doesn't fall for it. Spears are still just sitting, waiting, watching.
Exactly. More spearmen coming out. Hasn't yet switched his military school over to Spahi. Still on spearmen for the time being.
And
lots of villagers moving out to stone. So it is going to be a
TC.
second TC. Yeah, so second TC also going to be coming out here from Mista.
I mean, I feel like this somewhat kind of plays into Beasty's hands. He's going to be able to be the aggressor with those knights. So once you have to start going into some of those other pocket locations, he gets to take advantage of those more often. But Mista, he's still got those military schools pumping. So he's always going to have this kind of military number advantage, I feel like.
Oh, look at the deer. He's going to be placing his He's looking for the deer.
He's going to go further to the other deer.
Oh, but that's dangerous. That's so far out on the map and also means a lot of travel time for him. But yeah, it feels better than going for the deer that have been so far split apart.
But does it? There's only 3 there. He could have easily had the TC next to 3 deer anyways.
True. It makes it a lot more risky, and it also delays the build time now of the second TC. But it is a direct result of the the very, very annoying
I wonder if
deer laming.
I wonder if Mista notices the deer moving out and about on the map in the fog and might know that Beasty is moving out on these deer.
I mean, he's for sure just gonna see that the deer have suddenly died and that there's villagers out there. Archer does get spotted.
Yep, so let's see if Mista's going to go ahead and swap over that military school into Sipahi. I do think, yeah, second military school into Sipahi as well, potentially, but it is still on Spears for now. Looks like he's pulling Vills to build this secondary TC, and he is. Knight, though, gets a charge in. Villager gets pulled back and takes down a Vill. So Beasty able to micro around all of those spears, not take any knight damage really, and take down a villager.
Yeah, villager does go down. A couple more villagers have been pulled on to rush that TC up. And Mista still only producing spearmen so far. No Sipahi yet in queue.
I mean, I've seen Mista do this a lot on civs such as Abbasid and some other ones where he just like sticks to spears, but against French, they know they're used to civs making a ton of spears against them. They're just gonna mass up archers, and that's exactly what Beasty's planning to do already.
Yeah, lots of archers already out on the field. And now he's getting golden again, so with that, we're also going to be seeing a mixture of knights coming in as well. And that's just going to be the archer-knight kind of composition that we do tend to see from the French. I think maybe if Mista makes like a lot of Sipahi, he can hold on against that. And he is adding in a lot of stables as we speak. But Sipahi are really expensive. They are way more expensive than like your normal horseman.
Yes, they are. He sends a villager out to go wall, but right as Beasty, he's circling around with some archers. Oh no, the villager took some bad pathing.
Ooh, has to be careful not to lose the villager here. First stable, second stable has been built, and now Beasty knows about the potential game plan here from the Mista.
Needs to watch out with that little small archer group he has. There's plenty of spears here to step up. All he needs is those first few Sipahi to clear up the first little archer raid attempt.
Looks like he's now also switched one of his military schools over to spy. Oh, Caster, be careful! Oh no! Lose another villager for it.
Sipahi, though, they're going to go chase down the rest of these archers. Beasty will lose that little 4 mass, which isn't a big deal. He was able to pick up a couple Vills. Obviously, he has that French inherit bonus, so he is a few extra Vills ahead already because those TCs just work that much harder.
Exactly. Deer on the left side being vacuumed up right now by Beasty's villagers. More Spy being made, but also a lot of knights being made right now. Knight count is looking dangerous as now Beasty has a lot more knights than Spy. It's gonna take a while for Mista to catch up there in the count. Now also adding in his own archery range and another stable.
I mean,
not sure what the archery range is gonna be for. If you already got like 3 stables out, it feels like you're probably not gonna invest too much into archers at this point.
Oh, another charge comes in, and did that Vill go down? No, it didn't.
It didn't go down.
But the additional 1 or 2 did. Knights chasing on in. One knight falls. Looks like another one. Oh, Mista pulls back out early. I feel like he could have gotten a potential return damage in, but now Just wants to get back to work. Send some Sipahi to do some return raiding. Beasty, he hasn't yet noticed. He's still focused in on a raid on the other person's gold. Misses gold. Loses 3 vills out for that. And there's just now turning into some raids all over.
Both players just really actively raiding each other at the moment. Sipahi does keep his life, but Mr. gets stove once again onto his wood line, onto the expansion there with the TC. Another villager goes down. Military out of position for him.
Yeah, I feel like he just hasn't respected this mass from Beasty yet. But this mass is cornered. It's behind some walls. It's behind some TCs. So there's really not anywhere for it to go once it does fall, if there is enough of a military mass grouped up. But Mista, he doesn't have any Sipahi grouped there together. He's not able to climb up with those numbers, and Beasty's on top of his production.
It looks like Mista really wants to get up to the castle age, but is that really a wise decision right now? What's he gonna make once he gets to the castle age? Because he is completely off gold at the moment.
Castle Age is the plan. The MIA's on the way up. Archer's still sitting on a TC, firing it down there. Not maybe the best use for those, but Beasty not allowing Mista to get gold at such a crucial time. The MIA is on its way up. The only benefit he'll get is swapping military schools, and that takes time for units to pop out.
Exactly. Tries to pick up some reinforcements, but oh my god, the dive! Oh, this is gonna be painful. Very painful. Villagers in the MI have to retreat. TC's firing on the units here from Beasty, but a lot of units do go down.
Beasty doing a great job focusing down the spears with his archers. If all those spears are wiped, it means that those knights just get to run rampant. But Mista, he finishes his castle. He's still got Sipahi and Q. And he's got a lot of military to deal with on the other side. Beasty's created an eco gap as well.
Yeah, that's just the French 2TC and the raids that have been coming in. Means that right now Mista is quite behind in eco. He does have the military schools to somewhat balance that out. But the military mass from Beasty right now, it's just overwhelming. Once again, raid coming in. Villagers hide in the TC. It's still no way for Mista to get gold.
Yeah, and Beasty has the military upgrades. Mista has 0 in Q. The TC fire isn't getting that extra damage. Those knights, they're still very tanky when there's only a few villagers in the TC, and you have, 5 knights under the TC fire.
Yeah, Beasty, he does have the blacksmith upgrade, the pierce armor upgrade. Mista doesn't have the pierce damage upgrade, so the TCs do very reduced damage here to these units from Mista right now. And Beasty is not too far off of his own castle age behind this.
So many villagers on that wood line. That is Mista's main and only really protected wood line behind that TC. So if Beasty is able to idle that out, it's just so effective in the grand scheme of things. And Beasty going with the guild hall and not the Royal Institute, just in case this game gets into the long run. We've seen a lot of players. Oh, speaking of, Knight dive in the background. The Sipahi circle the archers, get an easy cleanup. Beasty needs to get out of there with his knights as well, but Sipahi, they can close the distance. They have movement speed.
He's diving on the other side on the TC. Janissary Vizier Point gets pulled, but Janissaries against the archers is not going to work. Needs to pull more villagers into the main TC. Villagers do go down.
Sipahi still circling around that backside, will be able to help with the archer mass, but the question's going to be, can he deal with the knights? Archer's already on top of those few Janissaries that came out, needs to make sure those stay alive, but going to be so hard with the mass that's here from Beasty. Mista trying to circle, trying to get the Sipahi on top of the archers. Extra range helps a bit, but this timing, so crucial, and he's not able to do it. Beasty, the 3-0 victory. What a clean series.
A clean sweep coming out here from Beasty. Wins the 3-0, and look at that villager count, just getting so many villager picks with that raid, and it feels like these fast age-ups for Mista in the set, they've just not been working out too far. And yeah, just Beasty going for the later age-up, but investing more into military in every single set seems to have been working out quite well for him so far.